Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the last knockout of the day here at the debate circle in the run towards the nationals. We want to see who will be the crowning champions for season 2. Proposing and opposing this motion is Utumishi Girls Academy versus Meru School. And the motion of dissection reads, gender-based wage gaps should be actively addressed and corrected by legislation. I read the motion again. Gender-based wage gaps should be actively addressed and corrected by legislation. All the best to both teams. Team proposition, first speaker, you have 3 minutes.
Ladies and gentlemen, some people call me a doorkeeper. Others call me a gateman. But one thing is for sure, I am here to close the doors of doubt and open the gates of understanding. That is why I, Michael Koro, am here to strongly propose the motion that states gender-based wage gaps should be actively addressed and corrected by legislation. First off, gender. Gender is the act of being either male or female. Wage is the average pay per unit time. Gap is a difference existing in something. Should is an obligation to do something. Addressed and corrected means to find a problem, identify its cause, and create a solution for the said problem. Legislation is the making of laws. Now, before we even continue this motion, there's a few things I'd like for us to acknowledge before we continue. First thing, gender-based wage gaps do exist. Second thing, they affect both males and females. Now, to expand on this, I'll just say a few sectors in which these gender-based wage gaps exist. According to Forbes Advisor 2022, sectors with the highest wage gaps include legal occupations, where men earn 59% more than the women, construction and maintenance occupations, where men earn a whole 40% more than their female counterparts, and management and professional related occupations, where men earn a whopping 34% more than their female counterparts. Ladies and gentlemen, legislation is the way to solve this problem. Now, when we talk of actively addressing the issue, what do we mean exactly? First off, I'd like to say, did you know that the legislature is the only arm of the government that has successfully employed the 2/3 gender rule in its employees? How then can we not say they are not able to solve these gender-based wage gaps? Chapter 4, Clause 3 of the Constitution clearly states, man and woman deserve both social, political, and economically equal rights. Yet here we are discussing gender-based wage gaps. The legislature should actively address this issue by giving things such as punishments. If the legislature were to give punishment, fines to corporations that may not follow these gender-based wage gaps, believe you me, we'll be a whole lot further in solving this problem than we already are. We are working to achieve SDG number 10, that is reduced inequalities. And the only way to achieve that is employing the legislature to do so. Now, normally, as I conclude, I will tell my opponents to chew on that. But it seems they lack neither the wisdom teeth nor the wisdom to take it in or chew it out. Thank you.
First speaker, team opposition, you have 3 minutes.
Indeed, best is saved for last. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Kaviha Zawadi from the Utumishi Girls Academy. I know I'm a woman, and I am supposed to support that of my kind. But ladies and gentlemen, this is where I draw the line, a very thick line for sure. Ladies and gentlemen, call me the doctor disliked by many children, for I give injections of bitter truth and pills of truth and honesty. I come before you to debunk the motion that states gender-based wage gaps should be actively addressed and corrected by legislation. How sweet would it be if the society really realized that gender-based wage gaps are discrepancies not based on gender, but structural and social factors. For instance, time allocated during women work hours for protection and for the security. We have time limits of women working. We have women who take maternity leaves. These maternity leaves cut off from what they are paid. And I would strongly disagree if anyone was to stand and say that gender-based wage gaps are based on whether one is a woman or a man. Why? Then it means that most industries would have women to cut down the pay of costs. Going to legislation, what is legislation? Legislation is the act of making or enumerating laws. What is gender-based wage gaps? This is the difference in pay of women and men. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to come to you and give you just one very great example. We have STEM. You all know what STEM is? STEM is the science, technology, and engineering and math. We have 77% of men in STEM compared to women. Why is this so? Women feel intimidated of trying these practices based on societal factors. No one stopped them. I will not want to bring legislation to come and handle a matter like this. Why? If we start rooting where the problem of gender-based wage gaps is coming from, I don't really think legislation is really key to solving the problem. Research from Harvard University states that women fear to negotiate their prices during the job pay amounts during job interviews. This makes them unless. Then ask me, why should they bring this upon themselves by not saying that they can tip the offer for they have 100% qualifications? I believe our judge here, same as our male judge, has equal opportunities, has 100% qualifications, and if it was to earn more, that's what brought her here, and she felt like, you know what? If Mina can do it, I can do it too. And why bring the legislation? She made this decision and she knew that, yes, I can stand and make as well money. If this was what society implied and is what was in our society, then legislation is not needed to make amendments. We have laws that have been enacted. Laws from the bill, we have a bill 27, chapter 3, section A. It says that women have rights to all social practices and social activities, and they're free to participate as well. Why not then, women, let us participate? Why enact new laws if the ones that are there are not being followed? Thank you.
Second speaker, team proposition, you have 3 minutes.
23 years into the 21st century, and you still want to pay me based on my genitalia. Not cool, guys. So we've managed to send rockets into space, to the moon, do exploits, but you're still discussing matters, justice. Ladies and gentlemen, justice is unnegotiable. My name is Victor Kimathi from Meru School, and I'm here to propose a motion that reads, gender-based wage gaps should be actively addressed and corrected by legislation. To start with is to offer my rebuttal. But since she didn't say much that concerned me, nor ruin of the motion, I'll be brief. You said you're administering pills. That we agree. But the pills you're administering are pills of rumors. So you say something about time. The moment we introduce the word wage into the motion, wage means pay per unit time. Definitely, we will calculate per unit time the kind of amount that you will receive. So time is no longer of essence. 2, you said that wage gaps are natural or something of the sort. Did you know, according to Al Jazeera, a case they featured on 29th August 2020, Iranian women get 18% of what their male counterparts earn? Is that really fair? Is that really natural? I think Tom and Jerry makes more sense. By proposing this motion, I, Victor Gitonga, also propose the upholding of SDG number 16, which is peace, justice, and strong institutions. So 13 years ago, a chicken was served to the Kenyans for dinner, but the chicken was missing the wings and the drumsticks. But today I bring to you an idea of the same chicken, this time full with the wings and drumsticks on. The chicken I'm talking about is Article 27, Clause 3 of the Kenyan Constitution. And it states, women and men have rights to equal opportunities in political, economic, and social spheres. See here, the Constitution acknowledges and addresses, but then it does not correct nor give the corrective measures to go about this. So what team proposition is stating is that the legislation have corrective measures for wage gaps. So OECD released an article on 23rd of April this year, showing that women tend to be overrepresented in low wage fields, and this results to gender wage gaps. Back home, see, the Daily Nation, page 17, date 9 of February this year, stated that 23% of girls drop out of school at poverty. Sadly, this means that 1 in every 4 girls in Kenya ends up illiterate. So what do we propose the legislature do? The legislature put on laws that are going to enable all the students to get educated. And in this way, we will convert 25% of the prominent gender in Kenya who are mainly affected by this into a workforce that will put us in a position for industrial development. Thank you.
Team opposition, you have 3 minutes.
A man works all day round the clock, toiling and moiling for fruits of success. While a woman wakes up in the morning and spends her day working in a low-earning job, and society wants both of them to earn 6 digits. I thought society was twisted, but not this much. To my proposer, you said genitalia. We get paid by the quality of our work, young man. I've never seen any job interview where they ask if I produce testosterone or estrogen. Maybe you enlighten me if there's any interview. As I proceed, making equal pay mandatory will eliminate merit-based pay. If employers are forced to pay men and women the same, they will stop giving people raises for exceptional work. Assuming that pay equity will end merit-based pay assumes that only men raises based on merit, which is pretty much assuming that women are worse at stuff, which is not. This is pretty much sexism. As a woman, who are you to blame the legislation just because your boss has promoted someone else in the company because they've done an exemplary work? The law only requires companies to prove that discrepancies aren't based on gender, which means companies who pay some people more based on demonstrable merit will not be breaking the law. I don't think the legislation is involved in the gender pay wages. If you work as a woman or as a man, why don't you do the exemplary work and you get to be paid more? My second point, women take time off from work to have and take care of their children. This argument is the most common and the most offensive. But I don't think it's right for you to blame a woman just because she has left work for maternity leave. I mean, I didn't plan to leave. I didn't plan to go on maternity leave. And just because the man, I've left him, his wage is going to increase. There's no way the legislation is involved in that. There's no way the legislation will tell me, don't take the maternity leave, stay in your work, get paid. There's no way. So I firmly agree that the legislation is not involved in gender-based wage gaps. Thank you.
Team Proposition have been tasked to give examples of countries where their framework has actually worked and the economic value of reducing the wage gap. Team Opposition have been tasked with, given that STEM is one of the corrective measures, why are we still seeing male doctors being paid more than female doctors? All the best to both teams. Team Proposition, third speaker, you have 3 minutes.
Ladies and gentlemen, Team Proposition presents to you the greatest robbery time has ever seen. This is according to the United Nations Women Forum. An average woman, or maybe on average, women across the globe earn 83.73 of what their male counterparts take home. Food for thought. Now let me answer your questions. So William, I'll give you not only an example, but an example to carry home. See, the United States in the year 1963 enacted an Act of Equal Pay. And you know what that did? It dropped their gender wage gap to a staggering 0.07%. Do you know what that means? Let's reflect on their economy. You know better. They have been the current superpower since 1914. I mean, isn't that astonishing? That is the power of a woman in an economy. Now to answer our dear opposers. See, the second opposer said that gender was not time-wise. And I think she was wrong. Gender wage gaps are from scenarios of same jobs, same efforts, but somehow, somewhere, they get different pay. See, they are not employers are not forced to pay, but for the same amount of work done, I think both men and women deserve equal pay. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a matter of argument. It is a matter of reasoning. And that is why one Kimathi winner is here to reason with you and help you understand. While the rest of the world has an average of 16.7%, Kenya, on the other hand, boasts of a 34.6% wage gap. This means for every 100 shillings a man earns, a woman earns 70 or less. Ladies and gentlemen, that is not fair to our mothers. It is not fair to our sisters, our daughters, and it will never be. This is according to the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, a report released early this year. You might be wondering, what harm does gender wage gaps pose and why it needs active or rather rapid response. See, it leads to demotivation of the underpaid gender. See, you're paying my male counterpart what you're not giving me. As a human, I'll be demotivated. And that is why 60% of women opt to go for the less paying job. This is, again, according to the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics. See, you give me half my pay and you'll be messing my life, since you'll be reducing 1, my spending power, 2, my saving ability, and 3, you will be reducing economic development. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury and judges, opposing this motion opposes the SDG number 5, which is gender equity. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury and judges, our solutions have been tried, they have been tested, and they are now trusted by Kenyans and all the people around the globe. Thank you for your time.
Third speaker, Team Opposition, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you so much for this opportunity, but I'd like to tell the proposition something. In the debate circle, this simple sign we have here, the microphone is for debating, not stand-up comedy, so please stop jokes. By the way, I was literally looking for something positive or something good about your points, so I decided maybe because you don't have enough good taste, have a sweet to flavor your points. Ladies and gentlemen, we are being lied to. We are being lied to all the time. According to the Bureau of Labor of Statistics in the United States of America, it says that women make up less than 30% of the workforce in science-related courses. These are engineers and computer scientists. Literally doing this, according to the Working Futures 2020, a specific occupation such as electricians or electrical filters are made up of 98.27% men. Women, you can do the math. How are you supposed to advocate for 50% representation, but yet only less than 2% are doing such a specific course? Women are dominating in colleges and campuses. So many women are off from high school and they go to campuses. But the funny thing is they refuse to venture into STEM. Most women do dislike mathematics. You can take a cow to the river, but can you really force it to drink water? You can give me the opportunities. You can give me so many things like scholarships in STEM-related courses, but it is my choice, not the legislation. I think personally, if we involve legislation into this, we will be wasting a lot of things. You called us robbers. Personally, I think you're robbing trees from the face of the earth to make papers which are wastable, because so many laws have already been made facing the same issue. So why would you waste more papers? Why would you cut more trees to come up with something that has been talked of for time immemorial? You could focus on something else, kindly. To the question that I was given, we do not base payment or wages off of gender, sorry. We base it off of experience. Men are willing to work more hours. Men are willing to do more dangerous jobs. Men are willing to be more aggressive in their fields of work. Who would you pay somebody more? A woman who stays at home with her children, or a man who's willing to work overtime? That's food for thought. And saying that women are paid less, personally, I think if I was the manager or the CEO of some very big company, I would personally hire females to save more money. Am I right? He has talked about the underpaying causing demotivation to the female species. But I have a question. You're pushing for men and women not to earn the same. I think that's because most of what you're saying has been lies. But I don't see people out there saying women should work as bricklayers, women should work as toilet cleaners. 99.9% of bricklayers are men, according to Jordan Peterson. We don't see women screaming that they want the same equality. Women want to be bricklayers. No, they want to be doctors and engineers. So I'm very confused. Why are you focusing on the other gender? Why are you forgetting your very own gender based off, I don't know what you're thinking of. To all of you who are here, I hope I've been able to guide you, be your guide, open your eyes and let you see that gender-based wages, that's up for you to think. Thank you.
Team Proposition, you have 1 minute to give your closing remark.
For the last and final term, gender-based wage gaps come when you get different pays for the same work. Value. 1, my team and I refuse to take home sweets when knowing women are getting Smith rents for doing a good job. Thank you, but keep it. 2, men are also affected by the gender-based wage gaps, but we decided to base on women since we are in Africa and far much in Kenya when women here where women are the most affected. See, by proposing this motion, I'm here to sum up what my team and I have done. By proposing this motion, we are proposing upholding of SDG number 5, gender equality, SDG number 10, reduced inequality, SDG number 16, peace, justice, and strong institution, SDG number 8, decent work and economic growth. By opposing the motion, they oppose this. So what are they bringing to the table, ladies and gentlemen? It is doable and it can be done. Team Proposition has agreed, has certified this. Thank you.
Team Opposition, you have 1 minute to give your closing remark.
Thank you once again for this lovely opportunity for my team to give its closing remarks. What we are basically saying here, we've been negating this motion for the longest time possible, that gender-based wage gaps should be addressed and be solved through legislation, am I right? Saying that men and women should have equal pay. My side of this team, side of the stage actually, what I mean, we're saying that that's not true, because another thing that's very interesting, we're basing off wages of the quality of work. Not because of the point of intersection of our legs. I hope I'm making that very clear for everybody who's here. How are we supposed to give promotions to people because of their genders. You know, we would be working in a very simple office, let's say an office of engineers, and one man does a very good job, and I decide, you know what, I'll give him a raise. If the law enacted that that's illegal, how am I supposed to, you know, give people motivation to do their work more? That's something that's not going to be very possible, don't you think? An equal pay law would execute in excessive lawsuits. Women would constantly be suing sexist bosses for equal pay. Misogynist business owners are only going to hire women as long as they can pay them less anyway. That's according to their logic. Anyways, because of all of this, I realized one thing. My time machine does work. We're in 1955. Excuse me while I go buy a dress that makes you look like a very big balloon. While I'm gone, please put this argument down for a nap. It's old and tired. Thank you.
For my call, there was a reference you gave about a percentage of gender wage gap. I didn't know whether it was globally, Africa, Kenya. You didn't give reference to that. So sometimes it's good to say what's the context so that we can picture it. From WINA, there's also reference you gave to 44.6% of wage gap, but you didn't quote the source. And SDG 5 is gender equality, not gender equity. So that's just a point of correction. Kavisha, you stated 77%. You didn't state the source. Overall, well done. I think there was room to be creative with this topic because it says gender-based wage gaps should be actively addressed and corrected by legislation. I think we're all in agreement that it needs to be addressed, but not necessarily by legislation. There are other ways we can go about this topic. So there was room for creativity in maneuvering how you could have debated this topic.
I agree with everything my colleague has said, and we are in agreement here. That to the girls, Utumishi, I know this was a hard one, trying to say that you guys don't need this legislation. I know, because you're the ladies in the house, but you did well, you fought well. The question still remains, which was alluded at first by the first debater, that if not legislation, then what? You know, that's what we wanted to hear. Are there many other ways in which people have pushed a certain agenda without necessarily going through the legislation angle? And yes, there are. For the gentlemen, good fight. For the ladies, you fought well to ensure that we have this equal matters happening in terms of wage gaps by legislation. And I can't wait for the results.
We will move straight to the judges' results. And the judges have awarded Meru School with 70.3%. A round of applause, please, for Meru School. And the judges have awarded Utumishi Girls Academy with 68.7%. A round of applause, please, for Utumishi Girls Academy. And the winners of the debate are Meru School with 70.3%. A round of applause, please, for the winners. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We have come to the end of this debate, and we are moving to the race to know who takes it home here in the finals for the Nationals at the Debate Circle Season 2. And until next time, it is goodbye from us. Remember to check most of this content and our debates on our social media handle at the Debate Circle on Instagram, on Twitter, on TikTok, on YouTube, and as well as on LinkedIn. Kwaheri.